we have proposed as a tool, a mechanism for knowledge sharing. And then we went into technical presentations. They first spoke about the future of skills and what we expect to see moving forward. And then we looked at what opportunities currently exist for young people. And then we went into the topic of inclusion and looked at empowering young women and girls. We'll go more in depth into how, the practical today. And we're going to start with a session that deals with conventional and emerging technologies, what exists around. I think it was from the keynote yesterday where we looked at the 10 areas where things, the 10 emerging areas. We are going to look further at some of these areas this morning. And to moderate this session, I will introduce Satu Javinen. Satu is the CEO of Skills Safari, and she'll be moderating this session. While she comes up, may I kindly request that we keep the noise levels low. If you absolutely have to have conversations, please move the conversations outside. There's a lot of side talk going on right now, and we've had a few complaints around that. So if you absolutely need to have conversations, please move it outside so that people who want to be here can be here. Thank you.
Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I am thrilled to be opening today. We're talking about practical applications that impact our future. I think we are at the most exciting times in education today because we're drafting the future. A few hundred years ago, industrialization began. Factories came, new machines came, people started working there. That was the time when our current education system was drafted. Because people were working in factories, they needed new types of skills. The factories needed employees who were able to run the machines in the factories. And they needed a place where to store the kids and provide them with the skills, hence the education systems of today. But now we're at, back in the day, the major concern that people were talking about with the machines, like the cars, was what will happen to humans? All these machines are coming. How are we going to be employed in the future? But as we all know, the technologies came, the machines, and we're still employed. Do you know who lost in the big industrialization workforce? It was the horses. The horses were the biggest losers because the horses couldn't reinvent themselves and their tasks, and the machines took over horses. Now we drive cars. But I think as humans, we evolved. We came up with the new things we need to do in the new industrialized era. But now things are changing again. With the new technologies, robotics and so on, the industrial scene is changing. The robots can take over some of the simple tasks people used to do for years. So now the question is again, how do we reinvent ourselves, and how do we reinvent our education systems to answer the problems of tomorrow and the challenges, but at the same time, the opportunities? Because we talk about individuals and skills and making personal dreams come true instead of training for masses. So that's the theme of today. We're going to hear about practical applications of the future technologies at the national level and at the very practical entrepreneurial level. And I think we have an excellent panel, and I'm really thrilled about sharing this session with you and having you all in the room. And we'll be very strict with time. You have a Finn on the ropes, and the only people who are more precise than Germans are the Finns. So let me start by welcoming the panel on the stage. First, Mr. James Kanyankole Gashumba, the Vice Chancellor of the Rwanda Polytechnic from Rwanda. Welcome, and I think we can give a hand to our panelists as they arrive. Then, Monsieur Moussalo, the coordinator of the Virtual University of Senegal. Welcome, bienvenue. Then, Mr. Obedina, technical advisor of FHI 360. Please welcome. And then our amazing youth. We start with the ladies. Miss Ruth Waiganjo, Miss Geek Africa, and a freelance developer. Welcome on the stage. And then Mr. Karim Abubakar, the General Director of Investive. Please join us on the stage. So as you can see, we have an excellent panel joining us on the stage. So we can look at our topic, the conventional and emerging technologies and what they mean for the future skills from good different angles. We don't have too much time, so let's get started. At first, let me welcome to present Mr. James Kashumba from Rwanda, who will discuss some of the solutions and plans they have at the national level with the new technologies. Please.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Oh, there are so few. What's happening? Huh? Day 2, are we tired? My name is James Gashumba, as you heard. I'm from Rwanda. I'm in my job only 2 months as the new Vice Chancellor of a brand new university called Rwanda Polytechnic, a technical university. Don't start counting time.
No.
My 8 minutes. By the way, I just want to warn you, I've been a teacher all my life, and therefore things like class management. So if you are talking, I'll point a finger at you and say, I won't use the word shut up, I'll just say, I'm talking. Is that clear? Yes, that's the topic for today. And really, mine is not a project. I'm just going to tell you about where we are going in Rwanda. I'll show you the things we are doing, putting things together to create an environment where we can allow young people to flourish and to really fly. So, which arrows? Yes. Did you all know that Rwanda is the most highly populated country, I was going to say in the world? It could be in the world, but in Africa at least. It's a tiny little country. We don't have many resources, but the biggest resource we have is its people, resourceful people. The government consciously therefore said, this resource we have, this only resource we have, we must make use of it. And they really have made good I'll talk in more detail a bit later. I mean, in discussions. This year, 2010, I remember it for 2 things. One time, my son came excited. He said, Dad, have you seen? I said, what? He said, the master plan of the city of Kigali. So it was a little video. I looked at it. I said, I rolled my eyes. Did you know men roll their eyes? Men also roll their eyes in terms of disbelief. This city, I said, this is Dubai. We don't have oil. We don't have anything. Little did I know that the leadership in Rwanda mean business. Whatever they do, they mean what they say. This thing about Innovation City, Rwanda Innovation City. When the idea, they started talking about, you've heard of Smart Africa, things like that. So this idea started coming around in 2014, 2015. What is this Kigali Innovation City? And I've been around for the last 3 years seeing the shape, how this so-called Innovation City is taking shape, where they've brought together leading universities or leading institutions or institutes in one village, just outside of Kigali. There is the Carnegie Mellon University, there is the International Center for Mathematics. There are other centers of excellence. Put them together. And I want us, the Rwanda Polytechnic, to have a branch there. I'm going to really work for that, where you can put young people and just let them have fun. And make sure that teachers, let me tell you something. I know you are timing. When I was appointed as Vice Chancellor, because when you reach my age, I was thinking that I'm going to retirement, but really I don't want to retire. I still feel 35 or whatever. So they appointed me, and I said, I have my chance now. I'm going to be a disruptor. Because all my life I've had this disappointment about education, that especially assessment, the way we assess, I have always had a disappointment, and me part of that problem, that teachers are actually, they hamstring, they create barriers, they put boundaries, and therefore restrict innovation in young people. You remember pointing to a child, you, stop dreaming. That child may have been dreaming something big that will change the world. And say, oh, because you have a test, they have to do those tests of memory recall, rote learning. I've had this disappointment. So when they appointed me as Vice Chancellor, I said, I'm going to make a change. I'm going to make a change and make youngsters thrive, make sure that we can train our teachers so that teachers are facilitators. They go and allow children to thrive, to create that environment where we can allow exploration. So Kigali Innovation City is taking shape. I've visited and looked and really said, oh, this is something of the future. Now you go to Rwanda, the things that we do, for instance, some of the campuses that are part of my university, I've just started visiting some of them, and they have incredible facilities. Wonderful facilities that are from first world. And then I know the expectation expected of us. Make sure that these facilities we've given you, you're going to make use of them. Give them to these children. I don't know if anyone of you has heard about one laptop per child. This is a program which started way back in 2009 or 2010. This is where children in rural areas were being given laptops which use solar energy. And I've seen these little kids. They usually, when we have an international conference, they bring them. These are kids who are thriving, and these kids are now reaching the age. We are just about to start receiving them in universities. Kids who are savvy about the computer. We are not talking about kids from Kigali city, some kids from villages who really know how the computer world works. This is looking to the future. Little Rwanda, tiny little Rwanda. Do you know how little we are? But we don't think of ourselves as a little country. These kids are about to come, and the Kigali Innovation City will be their home. They'll be invited for weekends. Come and have a weekend. I'm excited about the future. Yeah, I've forgotten all about my retirement plan. I'm looking to the future now. Okay, I know the 8 minutes are about to finish. Now, Rwanda TVET transitioning to competence-based teaching and assessment, and I'm going to take that seriously. We're going to completely revolutionize the way we teach, and I'm going to be there in the classroom myself. They'll be saying, oh, the Vice Chancellor is coming. Yes, I'll be in the classroom myself, seeing how teachers are teaching, and tests are going to be things of the past. The tests the way we know them. We are going to be doing new things, and we have partners that we are engaging in this new way of the future. So when we talk about emerging technologies, we have created an ecosystem that will allow these things to happen. If you ask me myself about emerging technologies, I know very little, but me as a leader, as a policymaker, as someone who makes decisions, I can get the right people together so that we can go into this leapfrog. That's a word we use a lot in Rwanda, leapfrog, jump to the future. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope I have more time. During discussions, you ask me questions about this dreaming about the future, okay? The things we are seeing ourselves in Rwanda. You've heard of drones. We have drones in Rwanda which deliver medicine. Can you imagine? We think we're way ahead of the future, to the future. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, James. There's one question. You were talking a lot about the future and innovation. And we need innovations, we need a lot, but innovations, they don't come up from silos or by themselves, they need enabling conditions. And now, when you think about where the world is going and how the industries and the workplaces are changing, and what are the main things you see in the innovation environments that you're creating that are required to spark future-oriented innovations in Rwanda?
Well, when I look at this Kigali Innovation City, it's really creating an ecosystem. And we can have that ecosystem even in the classroom. And one of the things that we've put at the forefront is a program called TOT, Training the Trainer. Because teachers can be, as I said, can be the barrier to where we want to go. Because teachers, in most cases in technology, teachers are a kind of a step behind the kids. Did you know that? When you are a teacher, you are 30-something, and you are teaching kids who are, 10 or something, they are ahead of you. So how do you make this fear, how do you take this fear out of the teachers so that they don't necessarily have to know more than the students? Because the students nowadays know more. But then allow them, create an environment for them and become an enthusiast. And ask them, say, tell me about this thing. And they'll tell you, they'll be glad, and create that environment where kids can really fly. So that's the environment I want to create.
That is beautiful, thank you. Reminds me of my son, who's 8 years old, who is experienced in 3D printing, can 3D print anything. I can't. He doesn't know how to tie his shoelaces. I can. Thank you, James. That's brilliant stuff. And now we're moving more towards the school side and the education, teachers and so on. And Monsieur Moussalo, the coordinator of the Virtual University of Senegal, will explain about the work they have done in distance learning, the traditional e-learning, but also how they envisage the future and the role of technologies play in future of e-learning. Bienvenue.
Merci. Bonjour. Good morning. Donc je vais partager avec vous une expérience, l'expérience d'une initiative en cours au Sénégal, l'expérience de l'Université virtuelle du Sénégal qui a été créée il y a 4 ans pour utiliser le numérique et améliorer l'accès à l'enseignement supérieur. Donc je vais, puisque j'ai que 8 minutes, très rapidement revenir sur le contexte de création de cette université et ensuite montrer comment ça a permis d'améliorer l'accès à l'enseignement supérieur et enfin insister sur notre offre de formation en relation avec les compétences qui sont liées au thème du panel de ce matin. Donc, pour revenir sur le contexte, c'est en fait rappeler que le numérique occupe une place importante dans les politiques publiques au Sénégal en ce moment-là. C'est le cas dans le plan Sénégal émergent avec la stratégie Sénégal numérique 2025. Mais c'est aussi suite à la concertation nationale sur l'avenir de l'enseignement supérieur qui s'est tenue en 2013 et qui avait pour objectif de réfléchir au niveau national avec toute la communauté sur les difficultés que rencontre l'enseignement supérieur et de trouver des solutions. Et parmi ces solutions, le numérique est apparu comme une solution majeure Et une décision présidentielle a été prise pour mettre les TIC au centre du sous-secteur de l'enseignement supérieur. Et c'est ce qui a donc abouti à la création de l'université virtuelle du Sénégal en fin 2013, et avec comme objectif d'améliorer l'accès à l'enseignement supérieur sur deux aspects: élargissement de la carte universitaire et aménagement numérique du territoire, en créant un réseau d'espaces numériques ouverts. En anglais, on aurait pu dire Open Digital Space, qui permettent en fait aux étudiants d'avoir accès à des infrastructures technologiques avec un réseau haut débit. Donc la mission, évidemment, c'est de contribuer au développement du capital humain en utilisant les TIC. Et l'utilisation du numérique a permis donc très rapidement d'élargir la carte universitaire, parce que comme on le voit sur cette diapositive, les effectifs de l'université virtuelle sont passés en 2014 au démarrage à 2000 étudiants, aujourd'hui à plus de 20 000 étudiants. Donc en termes d'effectifs, l'université virtuelle aujourd'hui est la deuxième université publique du Sénégal, après l'UCAD qui a 80 000 étudiants, donc on ne peut pas se comparer à l'UCAD. Mais par rapport à toutes les autres universités existantes, l'université virtuelle a plus d'étudiants aujourd'hui après 4 ans de fonctionnement. Parce que l'université Gaston Berger de Saint-Louis, qui a 25 ans, elle a moins de 15 000 étudiants. Juste pour vous donner relativement, en fait, l'impact de la création de l'université sur l'accès à l'enseignement supérieur. Et si on regarde par rapport à l'élargissement de la carte universitaire, ça permet d'atteindre beaucoup de zones qui n'étaient pas couvertes par les universités publiques. Plus de 50% de nos étudiants se trouvent dans des villes non universitaires. Et la création de l'université virtuelle a été couplée avec le principe d'espace numérique ouvert, qui est un concept qui, en fait, c'est une sorte d'infrastructure niveau R+1, avec des open space et des salles de visioconférence, avec juste comme objectif de mettre les TIC au service des populations, donc aussi bien les apprenants, mais aussi aux communautés de façon globale. Donc cela s'est matérialisé dans un projet qui aujourd'hui doit permettre la construction de 50 espaces numériques au niveau national. Le Sénégal compte 45 départements, et donc ça c'est la carte du Sénégal. Ce que vous voyez en vert, ce sont les espaces qui sont en construction actuellement, et donc il y a 24 espaces qui sont déjà en chantier, qui ont acquis un financement sur les 50, et l'objectif c'est de terminer le projet en 2022. Et parmi ces espaces, d'ailleurs, c'est lié de souligner que la Banque africaine de développement construit 5 parmi ces espaces, et d'ailleurs ce sont les espaces qui se situent dans les principales villes du Sénégal. Et même le siège de l'université virtuelle est en train d'être construit avec l'appui de la Banque africaine de développement. Donc cela est important, et je vais terminer par le lien avec les compétences aujourd'hui que nous avons au niveau des technologies émergentes. C'est que nous avons démarré avec des formations classiques. L'État a décidé au départ de démarrer avec des formations classiques. D'ailleurs, la première promotion que nous avons sortie est principalement constituée de sociologues et de juristes, mais qui ont des compétences évidemment dans le domaine du numérique. Mais nous avons aussi une formation en mathématiques, en informatique, mais depuis 2 ans, nous avons démarré des formations dans le domaine de la communication digitale, des arts graphiques et numériques, du développement mobile, du développement web, mais aussi du gaming. Et nous allons démarrer à la rentrée prochaine une licence en robotique et un master en Big Data, sachant que le master en ingénierie logicielle, en système réseau et infrastructure virtuelle est déjà démarré. Mais ça, c'est ce que nous appelons la formation diplômante. Mais comme vous le savez, nous avons aujourd'hui dans nos pays des jeunes qui ont qui n'ont pas eu la chance d'avoir le bac. Je donne toujours l'exemple, au Sénégal, nous avons souvent 100 000 candidats au bac, il y a peut-être 30 000 ou 40 000 qui réussissent, les 60 000 ne réussissent pas. Et qu'est-ce qu'on a fait? Souvent, on les laisse en rade et ils deviennent des chômeurs ou bien ils vont devenir des commerçants. Alors l'idée, c'est en fait d'aller leur offrir des certifications dans ces domaines-là, parce qu'on n'a pas toujours besoin d'un diplôme pour être compétent. Il suffit d'avoir les compétences pour pouvoir être opérationnel sur le terrain. Et un autre élément aussi qui est important pour nous, c'est de miser sur ce qu'on a l'habitude d'appeler les acteurs du secteur informel, qui aujourd'hui occupent peut-être la place la plus importante dans notre économie. Mais ces acteurs du secteur informel, la plupart du temps, ils ont besoin d'être capacités, mais n'ont pas forcément le background pour apprendre via le mobile ou bien via l'e-learning de façon générale. Donc aujourd'hui, pour nous, il s'agit de voir comment utiliser les technologies émergentes comme la réalité virtuelle pour leur apporter des solutions adaptées pour pouvoir effectivement les capaciter, parce que ces acteurs sont extrêmement importants dans nos économies et si on ne les forme pas, ben, ce qu'on voit, c'est tout simplement un mécanicien qui va vous gâter votre voiture parce qu'il n'a pas été formé, un maçon qui va vous construire mal votre maison, ou un menuisier qui va vous construire une armoire qui va tomber en ruine au bout de quelques semaines. Donc tout ça, c'est pour dire qu'avec l'utilisation de ces technologies, nous allons pouvoir capaciter ces jeunes qui aujourd'hui occupent une place importante dans notre économie et qui vont certainement pouvoir développer davantage leurs compétences. Voilà, donc je vais m'arrêter là en attendant vos questions, mais vous remercier de votre aimable attention.
J'ai bien aimé comment vous avez expliqué l'importance des robotiques et les réalités virtuelles. Mais une question pour vous, pendant que les techniciens changent de présentation. Les intelligences artificielles sont quelque chose qui, de nos jours, commence à être introduit dans un nombre de plateformes où on peut étudier pour reconnaître les façons d'apprendre des étudiants. C'est très nouveau, mais avez-vous travaillé sur ce sujet, fait de recherche un petit peu, si vous voulez partager quelque chose?
Merci. En fait, jusqu'à présent, on a utilisé les technologies classiques d'e-learning pour offrir nos formations. Mais effectivement, comme vous le dites, il y a aujourd'hui les possibilités d'utiliser des techniques d'intelligence artificielle pour améliorer la qualité de la formation. Par exemple, en s'adaptant aux spécificités de l'apprenant. Parce que nous avons une communauté d'apprenants qui est très diversifiée. Nous avons des étudiants classiques, mais nous avons aussi une cible des professionnels, nous avons des gens qui n'ont pas forcément un niveau intellectuel important. Et donc, il faut être capable de s'adapter aux besoins de chacun de ces apprenants. Donc, ça, nous avons effectivement commencé à réfléchir sur comment utiliser ces techniques d'intelligence artificielle pour adapter la formation, adapter les techniques pédagogiques aux besoins des apprenants.
Wow, merci. C'est vraiment une chose d'avenir où on peut utiliser les technologies, un petit peu remplacer un travail traditionnel dans l'enseignement, de reconnaître notre façon d'apprendre et nous suggérer des choses, les suivantes choses à faire. Mais bon, je change la langue encore. So, next, now we have heard from the education sector and what the plans are and how they envisage the future. But now we start transitioning toward the practical application of skills and entrepreneurship and those, but in between, as we heard from Mr. James, you need, and Mr. Musa, you need knowledge, you need skills, you need soft skills. It's not enough to know the technology, and you need to have the right values, the right attitude to succeed. So how we enable the development of our youth as people. And for that, let me welcome Mr. Obed on the stage and share his experiences and project. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yes, it's an honor to be with you today. As you heard, my name is Obed Diener. I'm a regional technical advisor with FHI 360, currently based in Amman, Jordan. Among the projects I support, one of the most rewarding has been a technical assistance partnership with the African Union on the theme of youth employment. This has been with the African Union Commission, in particular the Youth Division of the Human Resources, Science and Technology Department, and others across the AU. And I guess I want to start by acknowledging the role of the AU in convening such a distinguished group of youth policymakers, practitioners, and others around sharing knowledge and collaborating with each other and really solving important problems for Africa. So thank you for that. So I wanted to speak today about the importance of life skills in this discussion about technology, and really making the point that they're not separate, they shouldn't be considered parallel, but really are so deeply interconnected and interdependent. I will be brief with my remarks, but I want to go through basically three points, which is, first of all, what are life skills or soft skills? Why are they important? What is the link to technology and the interaction? And finally, a little bit sharing some recent studies that we've done as FHI 360 on how best to cultivate life skills, and to talk about how that can best be integrated with technology skills. So to start, we heard a great introduction yesterday about 21st century skills. I think the point I just want to make is that there's certainly nothing new here. These are skills that many cultures and traditions around the world have been working on cultivating for thousands of years. There's an African proverb that says, only a wise person can solve a difficult problem. So problem solving is certainly nothing new in Africa. There's good evidence for the link between life skills and soft skills to successful outcomes for youth in a wide range of areas, not just in the workforce, but in terms of their health, sexual and reproductive health, also violence prevention and preventing conflict. As technology advances, and I mean, as a number of speakers have said, these skills are becoming increasingly important in the current and future workforce. And I just want to go into a little bit of why that is and what we think, the implications might be. So we heard yesterday some, in great detail about technological trends that are shaping the workforce. To summarize, I think really quickly, what we're seeing across the board in many sectors and many locations is that routine and repetitive tasks are increasingly becoming automated. We expect this will accelerate. So what are the implications for youth and for workers? The result is that increasingly humans are being asked to solve non-routine problems, and often this is happening in teams, in team environments, not doing that on your own. As a result, there's increasing demand in many workplaces for life skills. There was a very interesting study in 2015 in the United States looking at labor market data that found, looked at what types of occupations are growing, and found that occupations that require high levels of social skills are growing quickly over the past decade or so. Occupations, interestingly, occupations that are mostly focused on STEM skills and technology, but have very little social skills dimensions. Those, in fact, are going down slightly. But the greatest growth, both in the number of jobs and in the wages that are being paid, go to jobs that combine a high level of social skills and a high level of STEM skills. And the theory for why this would be the case is that the idea is social skills in particular are very important in a team environment. They allow team members to trade off tasks and identify which team member is the most effective in a particular area. And so it allows team members to specialize and work together as a group more efficiently. So now, as I mentioned, I wanted to share a few findings from a study we've done on what are the most effective ways to build life skills in adolescents and youth. And I'll go through them quickly. I think, you know, I will say I don't know that there's a lot new here, but I think taken in combination, we think these are important and significant for both policies and practices for youth. And I think if you look, think about it deeply, I mean, you look at many, at least the traditional Tibet approaches, you can see that there's a lot of work to do to really embrace and apply these principles. So starting with experiential learning, this is perhaps the most important one. But it's learning by doing, in essence, but also learning by doing that involves, you know, a constant challenge, constant practice, and also a process of reflection on one's performance that leads to learning. The second is addressing life skills in combination, not in isolated courses or workshops, but recognizing that these skills are applied in combination. They're also interrelated with technical skills that can't be separated from one another. And so that's the approach we have to take in teaching and learning. The third is strong relationships with adults and youth in programs and among youth and their peers. The fourth being positive adult practices, so modeling, constructive feedback, scaffolding, and positive reinforcement. And we just heard in one of the prior presentations about the importance of teachers embodying and modeling these behaviors. The last two, providing a safe and supportive and stimulating environment. And finally, an integration of learning contexts. So the experience in a program should be the same as that in a family, community, and different dimensions of youth lives. So yeah, with that I'll wrap up. I had some questions for the audience, but I'll let you take it from there. Thank you very much.
Thank you. It's a pity to have to cut an interesting presentation. We should have half an hour for everything. I can see a connection between, you know, the enabling conditions and things required to promote the soft skills in learning. And for me, I can see connections with the contextualization that is happening in Senegal and with the creating the right environment and context that is going on in Rwanda. How do you see, in integrating, I don't know how much this is your field, but technologies and learning events and experiential learning, are they well connected together? And also, while they put up the presentation, you have a second to say more about what I thought was interesting was the STEM and soft skills combined.
Yeah, thank you. Yes, so I mean, I think we've heard some good examples today of how best to do that. And I thought one of the presentations as well yesterday that stood out to me was the program from Kenya, I believe it's called Kamilimu, that combines mentoring with ICT education at the university level and had some very transformative impacts. And so I think, you know, it can be some some relatively simple approaches, but combining that positive relationship between an adult and a youth, and that opportunity to practice and apply theoretical knowledge in a real-world situation can be very powerful.
Thank you. Impressive. Now, it's ladies first, right? Now we have heard about the conditions, but we have such a good opportunity today to hear from two masters who have combined the new world, the new era, the new technologies, the right skills, the right attitudes, and are drafting really the future of the world. When I heard that Miss Ruth is going to be in my panel, I did a small dance in my house going, yes, Miss Geek is coming. So I'm thrilled, you know, it's a global issue that we don't have enough women in tech. And we need models and examples like you all over the world to lead the way and show girls what can be done. I have a girl, you know, I'll have her follow you. But let me invite you to the stage and share your story, your project, and what you have done, and really show how the new generation does it. Welcome.
Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. My project is about public transport safety through driver profiling. And before I begin talking about my project, I'd first like to explain what artificial intelligence and machine learning is. Now, artificial intelligence is the ability of a computer to think and act like a human being. And it has many branches under it, such as machine learning, robotics, natural language processing, which is what Google uses in their search engines. Now, machine learning is, as the name says, the ability of a machine to learn. The same way human beings go to school to learn, machines are able to learn through data that is provided to them. So a bit of a background of my project. According to the World Health Organization, 1.3 million people die annually due to road crashes. Now, this number is high in developing countries, whereby people between the age of 15 to 29 years, which are our youth, are mostly affected by these road fatalities. In my country, Kenya, 3,000 deaths occur yearly, and this affects about 300 billion of our GDP. And as the population increases, it is seen that the number of road fatalities will keep increasing. Now, the major problem that causes these road crashes is due to human error. That is drunk driving, overspeeding, overlapping, breaking the traffic rules. A small percentage goes to the vehicle condition and the traffic condition. So a very high percentage goes to human error. My solution aims to use sensors that collect data from a vehicle as the driver is driving, and using machine learning and AI to analyze that data and in turn provide driver profiling details. Now, a huge part of machine learning applications is based on the data that you have. People think that machine learning and AI is mostly about the programs you create, but it is also about the kind of data that you have and your understanding of the data. A huge problem in Africa is that a lot of data is not open, and the kind of open data that we have is outdated. So if you put in bad data to a very high-level machine learning system, it will provide worse results, garbage in, garbage out. For my project, I already had access to existing data from my university, and they had collected data from matatu drivers, which are public transport drivers, and my research objectives was to first try and understand the data, the variables in the data, what this number means, and etc. And the second thing was to identify a suitable machine learning algorithm, which would be able to help me classify the data. Machine learning algorithm is synonymous to a formula that you would use. You'd pick a different formula to calculate different things. So in AI, you have different machine learning algorithms to help you get to a certain goal. And finally, using feature engineering, that is domain knowledge of the data, to try and understand how I can get to my goal. For example, in the data that I had, there was vertical acceleration. Now, with my technology background, I have no idea what that means. But if I go to the transport domain, I can be able to understand that vertical acceleration is when a driver is approaching a bump, and depending on the speed of the driver, if the car goes high because of their speed approaching a bump, that is the vertical acceleration. And for my system objectives, first was pre-processing the data. That essentially means removing null and empty values, trying to eliminate variables that don't help me get to my goal. A huge percentage of your time in machine learning and AI application is taken into the data analysis part and the data science part. Secondly was to classify the raw data into events. What that essentially means is that if I know that in the public transport sector, the speed limit is 80 kilometers per hour, if I see any speed above 80 in my data, I can classify that as overspeeding. So overspeeding becomes an event. And essentially, using those events to classify the driver according to different profiles. That means if a certain driver has a high percentage in overspeeding or hard braking, I can be able to classify them and give them a score according to their profile. And finally, creating a portal that is web-based that my potential users would use. Ideally, my potential users would be insurance companies because they can, in turn, be able to charge high premium rates to high-risk drivers and low premium rates to low-risk drivers. So there's no reason as to why the insurance companies cannot have the behavior and the habit of drivers on the road in order to calculate their risk and their premium levels. Okay. This is just a very high-level system architecture of my application. So ideally, the sensors will be put on the vehicle, and then they'd collect data such as location, speed, time, and etc. And this data would be uploaded to a cloud or a server somewhere remotely. And then the machine learning application would be able to process and analyze the data and in turn give a score to a driver who is linked to a vehicle. Yes, so for my final fourth year presentation in university, I was able to provide a small prototype of the system. And on the laptop icon, you can see the web-based system. And on the phone icon, you can be able to see the USSD application that essentially would be used by drivers to enter their details, which would in turn link them to a vehicle. My next step would be using the prototype to test it with my potential users and be able to get feedback on how to improve the system when I start developing it for production use. And also looking forward to the alignment of such a system with various regulations that have been put out, such as the smart licenses, which contains the details of a driver on their driving licenses. So that could be linked with such a system in order to provide the profile, the driving profile of the data. And this was the first project that I've done in machine learning and AI, which essentially helped me understand what machine learning and AI really is in practical sense. That is the end of my presentation. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you, Ruth. I'm sure you've heard of the saying, be the change you want to see in the world. Yeah. I think not all of us are able to be the change we want to be, but at least we can see the change we want to see in the world. That was impressive. Kudos. Not only you're a woman working in technology, you're also in a traditional, like, masculine field. That is incredibly impressive. But it raises a question. One day you were a young girl in a school. Today you're here, a woman leading a technology company, your own initiative. What enabled you to be here today? What were the enabling factors that led you to be the thing that we all want to promote?
That's a very nice question. Some of the enabling factors that I've had is the fact that I've been able to see other women in technology be able to produce and speak about their technical projects. It's not only a matter of the discussion of bringing more women into technology, we also want to see what the women in technology are essentially doing and the kind of projects that they are doing, and that in turn encourages the rest of us to step up and try and do projects on our own. Yeah.
Wow. Wow. So just exactly what you said about the role models and sharing. Well, there you go. Okay. Last but definitely not the least, we get an example about how we can use modern technologies to have a huge impact and change in a more traditional field, and how they can have an impact on that, which it's fascinating, coming from a country of agriculture, so I love hearing about agricultural solutions. So let me please welcome Mr. Karim to share his story and his experience. And I think we promote the girls in techs, but you boys, you're okay too. Please.
Okay. Bonjour à tous. Je m'appelle Aboubacar Karim, je suis fondateur d'Investive. Investive, qui est une start-up technologique spécialisée dans le domaine agricole, qui a pour ambition de bâtir le futur de l'agriculture africaine en misant sur l'agriculture de précision. Donc, comme toute start-up, nous sommes partis d'un constat que tout le monde sait ici, la plupart des gens le savent dans la salle. En Afrique, on a une production faible. On a des producteurs qui sont pauvres et on a une demande qui est de plus en plus forte. En Côte d'Ivoire, on compte 5 millions de petits et moyens agriculteurs qui ont des problèmes de rendement liés à la mauvaise utilisation des ressources. 50% des pertes agricoles sont liées aux parasites. Et voilà, donc tous ces problèmes-là nous ont amenés à penser à une solution, notamment au niveau du système foncier aussi. On sait que l'un des principaux problèmes dans l'agriculture africaine, c'est le problème foncier. Donc aujourd'hui, nous, on utilise des drones pour aller sur des plantations pour permettre en fait de connaître les zones de maladie, les zones les moins fertiles, les zones les moins hydratées, ce qui permet aux planteurs de faire un traitement phyto ou un épandage d'engrais beaucoup plus précis. Et on utilise aussi les drones pour la cartographie. Donc ce genre de technologie-là, on les a adaptées en fait au contexte agricole ivoirien. Voici un peu ce que ça donne. Donc là, vous avez les différents types de cartes en fait qu'on utilise. Ici, c'est ce qu'on appelle l'analyse multispectrale. L'analyse multispectrale, c'est en fait comment ça se passe techniquement, c'est qu'il y a plusieurs longueurs d'onde qui sont fixées en fait à des drones, donc qui marchent un peu comme des capteurs, et à chaque survol en fait, à chaque photo que le drone prend, en fait, il y a 4 ou 5 photos qui viennent de plusieurs longueurs, donc de l'ultraviolet, de l'infrarouge et tout, et qu'on analyse en fait avec des logiciels de traitement de données. Et on peut avoir des cartes, des coupes de niveau. La carte en bas à droite, donc oui, à droite, c'est une carte avec un capteur thermique, et à gauche, c'est une carte en fait normale qu'on a superposée sur un plan satellite pour vous montrer en fait la précision de nos données. Ensuite, on utilise les drones aussi au niveau de la pulvérisation. Donc ça, c'est ce que les gens utilisent actuellement dans les plantations. Donc ils utilisent des pulvérisateurs ou des atomiseurs. Nous, on utilise des drones qui sont capables en fait d'avoir des charges de 20 litres pour aller directement sur les plantations pour appliquer les différents traitements. Donc aujourd'hui, nous, en termes de résultats, on a déjà survolé plus de 5000 hectares en Côte d'Ivoire. on a touché environ 1300 producteurs. Nous avons travaillé avec des organisations de référence, donc l'ONDR, bon, l'Organisation nationale du riz en Côte d'Ivoire, l'UNESCO et le patronat ivoirien. Donc, en termes de résultats, ce sont de très bons résultats pour nous parce qu'on a été lancé il y a environ 1 an et demi à peine. Les avantages de ce genre de technologie. Donc, déjà au niveau de l'agriculture, c'est une agriculture plus précise qui permet de faire des économies d'intrants et d'optimiser les ressources, d'améliorer la productivité, une meilleure connaissance des dimensions des terrains, de leur état et des données météorologiques, une nouvelle façon de faire qui est plus attractive pour les jeunes et une acquisition de données intéressantes pour prévenir les risques environnementaux. Le futur. Donc moi, comme solution pour le futur, je penserais plus à allier la cartographie qu'on fait déjà à une technologie blockchain qui nous permettrait de ne jamais effacer finalement les données qu'on a, ce qui permettrait de sécuriser les terres des producteurs et de démocratiser aussi l'utilisation de ce genre d'innovation à l'échelle africaine. Merci.
Wow. Merci. De rien. Je pense qu'il faut répéter les mots de dire « soyez la change que vous voulez voir dans le monde ». C'est vraiment impressionnant parce que les drones, ça existe depuis juste quelques années. Et voilà tout ce que vous avez fait avec cette technologie. Alors, une même question pour vous. Vous n'êtes pas... ouais, ça fait pas trop longtemps que vous étiez un petit garçon dans l'école. Et maintenant, vous êtes là, vous utilisez les technologies les plus nouveaux. Vous avez une entreprise, vous êtes le fondateur. Alors, comment ça s'est passé et quelles ont été les, comment on dit en anglais, enabling conditions qui vous ont permis d'être là aujourd'hui?
D'accord, donc moi en fait, c'est vrai que je ne suis pas sorti de l'école il y a longtemps, j'ai que 22 ans. Donc en fait, je suis ingénieur en agroéconomie, donc juste après mes études dans mon pays d'origine, en fait, je suis parti pour le Canada. Donc j'ai fait 4 ans, je suis sorti ingénieur en agroéconomie et c'est depuis là-bas en fait que j'ai pensé à cette solution-là pour le domaine agricole. J'ai 2 cofondateurs. J'ai un cofondateur qui est aussi issu du MIT, donc qui travaille justement sur tout ce qui est technologie robotique. Et j'ai un autre cofondateur qui est informaticien à l'Université Laval. Donc c'est moi qui lead le projet, vu que c'est moi qui suis dans le secteur agricole, mais j'ai toute une équipe derrière moi. Et ben, c'est un projet en fait qui a mûri ça fait depuis 2015 qu'on travaille dessus. Et on a été lancé en juillet 2016 avec plusieurs tests qu'on a fait sur au moins 8 mois. Donc les tests nous ont pris 8 mois avant de déployer ça à l'échelle nationale. Et puis voilà. L'année dernière, on a été élu comme étant, en 2017, on a été élu comme étant l'entreprise la plus prometteuse de Côte d'Ivoire par le patronat ivoirien.
That is so impressive. And we can see with the entrepreneurs on the chain, I'm losing words. I'm in awe. I'm in awe. But the future is here today, and these kids are already, and you're not kids, you're adults, but you're making it happen already. While we talk about what we should do, you're already doing it. I made a solemn promise that we won't be late for coffee, and coming from the country who consumes the most coffee in the world, Finland, and being one of the most active coffee drinkers, we can only take a few questions, but we have a coffee break afterwards, so there's plenty of time to engage in discussions there. So I think we'll have one question at a time so that we can all have our break and the day will continue running more or less on time. So do you have any questions or comments for the panelists? Oh, there we go. I think we go from the front, so you go first, and then we go to the rear table.
Thank you very much for your presentations. My question will go to the software developer. Of course, as I've rightly mentioned, that the quality of data that we train our systems with will determine the outputs that we get. As a pilot's been done, and the quality of data you had access to in using to train the system that you have, how qualitative would you say they are, and how recent would you say they are? Because there is a similar project that another Kenyan is doing for Matatu drivers, which also helps the Ministry of Transport to collect these kinds of data. It would be nice if you find that company and link, because they get accurate, timely data, you know, on transports, and they use that to train their systems. You know, so if you have piloted, fine. If you have not piloted, it would be very good if you link up with them. Thank you.
Thank you. The kind of data I had was not very recent, because it was about 3 months behind, and also the format it was in, it was a bit difficult getting an explanation as to why they decided to collect certain data points, because essentially the data was not mine, and it was a bit difficult getting the explanations. So that in turn affected the kind of algorithm I used. Now, in machine learning algorithms, we have supervised and unsupervised algorithms. Supervised means that the data already is very understandable. It has a label to it. Now, my data was a bit unsupervised in that there were no labels. So the kind of data that I had and trying to understand it affected the kind of algorithm that I used. I'll try and look for the company you've mentioned. Thank you.
Thank you. And then there was a question there.
Thank you very much for the presentations. Mine is not a question, but an observation and a comment on a possible way forward, thoughts around way forward. And I think this is one of the beauty of our presence here today. How do we enable such creatives to move from prototype level into production and into profit? What business development environment can we create to enable such startups develop and grow into the tech companies that we so dream of? I think this is the important point for most policymakers here today, to see and come up with how we can create the environment to enable such pockets of creative digital results to move. And I'm reminded of His Excellency the Minister's speech yesterday, who said that perhaps it is time to think critically about the development of continental innovation centers or innovation hubs in order to make such ideas thrive and flourish in a greater way. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you. I made a solemn promise to the organizers that we will stop on time, even though the topic is such that we could continue easily for another hour. But you all deserve a break, and I think we had the perfect closing argument to finish. So how do we create the environment and the conditions that enable more of these companies and startups to grow and flourish? And I think that is the question we really need to answer with all the actions that we take. I thank the panelists for your fantastic presentations. I thank the audience for your participation. And I think the organizers might have a word, but then I think it's coffee time. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Can we please give them another round of applause? What you've probably noticed is that this is the youngest panel we've had, and I'm not guessing people's ages here. That's not my task. But we can see that there are quite a number of young people on the panel. And that has perhaps led to the thoughts that came up yesterday around, look, we're here discussing, are young people already doing things? And we've seen that quite a number of people have started things in their own spaces. And I'll go back to the final comment. How do we encourage them? Perhaps that is our task. How do we make sure that these people can get to be the tech startup we dream of? Thank you very much. We'll go for coffee right now, and we'll be back in 30 minutes for the next session, the high-level session on digital secondary education. Thank you very much.